are not here yet. They were, but we had to start a new hangout. Looks like says I'm live, so till they can figure out what they're doing, I guess I'll start without them. My name's Will, and you're just in time prepping. Tonight we're going to talk about food storage. Hope they find their way in here. We were just talking. I guess I will start with my portion of it, and hopefully they'll pop in. See that there's still stuff going on up here. Hold on a second. See if they're telling me something. Uh, all right, if you can hear me, let's put a one up in the chat so that I'm on the right page here. Can you hear me, Kyle? Give me a thumbs up if I'm on the right page here. All right, you can hear me, right? Good. Because they're saying they're sending me a message saying that they're here waiting on me, but I'm over here, so we're just gonna go. Hopefully, I sent another link. Hopefully, they find their way in. Cheryl, you're supposed to be up here, Cheryl. Hold on a second, you guys. I can try to get this thing straightened out before we get started. Everybody just visit while I figure this out. You're here? Where are you at? I'm in another stream. I sent you the link. Did you get it? I sent you guys a link twice. Talk to me, Cheryl. What's going on? Can you hear me, Cheryl? Did you get the link, Will? I sent you another link. Well, we'll just sit here and figure it out. We'll just have to run a little late. I sent you a link. Sent you two links, actually. I'm going to send you a new link to a new email. Watch your email for this link. I'm going to send a brand new one. It'll be a brand new email. It won't be a reply or anything. It'll be brand new. Yes. I'm sending a new one to you too. Everybody that's supposed to be on the panel is getting a new link. And all right, it's gonna say new link. Whoops. Hold on. In the subject line, it says new link. Here it comes. You guys ready? Look for the one that says new link. It's on its way. Hey, Jim, how you doing? Well, they're trying to get over here to where I'm at, and here, let me just say hi to everybody. Hey, Ryan, good to see you. Hold on a second. All right, let's see who's in the chat. I have Southern Arc Southern Ohio Prepping. Sorry about that. I have Kyle Anderson. I have Cheryl Hirsch. I have Kyle. I have Will Patriot. He's supposed to be up here. Ryan Murphy, how you doing? Good to see you, my friend. Long time. You can't hear me?
I'm here.
You're here? All right, there's one of them. And let's see.
There you are.
There's Will.
There's Will.
I made
Where's
it.
Uncle at? Uncle should be coming up here in a second. How you doing, Will?
Oh, I'm doing all right. How you doing, Will?
I'm doing good. Everybody
Awesome.
doesn't know the panel here. Cheryl Hirsch is in here.
Hi, everybody.
Will Patriot, he's in here on the panel. Should be a couple other people along here in a little bit. Hey, Ashley, good to see you in here. How you doing, my friend? Yeah, I had a heck of a time. I think it's because I ran my notification just on straight YouTube so I could get that little thumbnail in there. And then I switched over to Hangouts. I think I confused them. Took me a while. Okay, let's try to get it started anyway. I'm going to start with a list of stuff here. We're talking about food storage tonight in case anybody doesn't know. Let me get there we go. I'm going to start and then we'll just kind of go around the table here and see what everybody else has. What I put together, and I have some other stuff too. Oh, Al did
Cheryl?
show up. Hey.
Are you
All right,
there?
everybody. Everybody knows Uncle Al. He's on the panel tonight as well. So
Awesome.
everybody give everybody a round of applause here.
Hello, Will.
Hey, I'm
Hey.
Al.
I hear you, Uncle Al. Can you hear me?
Hello, anybody?
Can you hear me, Uncle Al? Turn on your microphone. Oh, there's D-Mac. How you doing, my friend?
Howdy, yeah. I don't know if I can hear anybody.
I can hear you.
Hang
Can
on.
you hear
I gotta
me?
figure out my
You-
microphone stuff real quick. Give me a second here.
All right, we're getting the panels put together here, guys.
Yep, I can hear you, Will. I can't see.
Cool. I can hear everybody. Everybody can hear
You
me.
can hear everybody? Right on. Good. I was just getting ready to tell everybody, I'm going to tell them 20 food storage starters. Say if you're just beginning on YouTube or whatever, or not
You hear
YouTube,
me?
but in preparedness. We'll give Al a couple minutes. Al, you in here now? Uncle Al? Are you on?
Yes.
All right. I'm going to start out with 20 things that a beginning prepper should think about putting into food storage first. And I've got 20 pounds of rice, 20 pounds of pinto beans, 20 cans of veggies, 20 cans of fruit, 20 cans of meat, 4 pounds of oats. And that's just for a beginner, just so that you have somewhere to start from. 2 large peanut butter jars, 2 large jars of Tang or a drink mix, 5 pounds of a powdered milk, 5 pounds of salt, 10 pounds of pancake mix, 2 pounds of honey, 10 pounds of pasta, 10 cans of spaghetti in jars. Probably in jars would be better because it lasts longer. 20 cans of super broth, 1 large jug of oil, that's cooking oil, of course. Some packets of spices, condiments, 2 large bags of hard candy, and then a mini head lamp. That's just to get you started. That's just so that you have something to work towards. That will get you started. And then as you go along, when you get this list finished, you've got everything on that list, you turn around, you start doing everything on that list again. And that would be a good way for the beginning people to start preparing if you're starting like from scratch. So that's what I'm going to start with. I'm going to start running around the table here to each one of you guys, and you guys can put in some stuff too. We'll start there with Uncle Al. You're up, Uncle.
Will, if you could hear me,
Al,
if you could hear me,
he's having
Will,
a
don't
problem.
forget water.
I can hear you, Al.
Will? Hello?
Yeah, we can hear you, Al.
Yes, water. I left water off the list. Water should be on there. You should probably
One second.
collect a few. I do it. I buy water by the case, those cases of water in little 8-ounce bottles. So if you could buy a couple of cases of those every time you go to the store, you should be buying them when they're on sale right now because I don't know about where you guys live, but here they're going to put another tax on water. So all the bottled water and all the water that you buy in those big jugs and stuff, they're going to add a tax on that, so you have to pay more for it. So more water you can store now is going to be better, because as we get on and you get towards a disaster of some sort of event, then water is going to be non-existent. So any water you can store is a plus.
Yeah, most definitely.
Okay, you with us now, Al? I think you're still having problems. Let's go ahead and go to you, D-Mac.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, jumping on account of, can you guys hear me? Yeah.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Water.
Awesome. So piggybacking on the
Water.
conversation with water right there, I think it's really important, obviously, to store
You can
water.
get those,
Oh, go ahead, Al.
Go ahead, Al. Al's having technical difficulties.
Yeah, I'm not hearing him.
Go ahead, D-Mac.
okay, wait a second. Hello?
Oh, yeah. Yep, we hear you,
I
Al.
lost Cheryl, but I think
You're on, D-Mac.
Cool. So just conversation that I just kind of jumped into there about storing water and the importance of storing water. Obviously, we all know that it's important to have water, to have means to purify, filter water. I personally, I don't really like buying the flats of the bottled water. It's just my own personal thing, just because it's a whole lot of plastic and a lot of packaging. I'm kind of the opinion that I like to reduce refill as much as possible. But I've tried to be real with my water storage. Because I'm not, I don't have like 1 million gallons at the house right here, and I don't even have like the big 55-gallon barrels per se, because once you fill up a 55-gallon barrel at 7 pounds per gallon, you're at what, like 200 some odd pounds or so. It's going to be damn near immovable, and so you can't really do much with that big tub of water. Once it's filled, it's a stationary water store. So I've personally gone with the 5 and 7 gallon totes. I keep about probably about 70 gallons currently, just in like little 5-gallon totes in the basement down here in my rest of my food storage room. It's not a whole lot of water when you really think about it, 70 gallons, but it's for a family of 2 adults and a 2-year-old and an infant. I like to think that 70 gallons just down here is going to be able to get us through that first month and a half comfortably while we work on procuring and obtaining water. Obviously, I'm adding to that collection as we can, but I think that is important to kind of keep, your size and weight constraints in mind as you are storing this water, because if you go get a big ice, 250-gallon ICB tote, yeah, it's awesome. You got all that water in the backyard, but it is there. She ain't moving anywhere anytime soon, and if you do have to, you have to keep in mind that during any sort of, really crappy situations where we are going to have to be relying on our food storage and on our water preps, that there's going to be a lot more chaos going on than if you had strong infrastructure, because you're not going to have as quick of, the fire department's not going to be able to dispatch as quickly. Police department's not going to be able to dispatch as quickly. Medical department's not going to be able to dispatch as quickly. So you're going to have a lot more fire. You have a lot, stuff that kind of is controllable in a in a rule of law situation where it's not as controllable without rule of law. So you need to have the idea that you might have to leave your domicile at any point because of any crappy situation that rolls through in a moment's notice. So being able to grab, a bunch of water containers and huck them in the back of the car is a lot better than trying to get a dolly and a wheelbarrow and huck a 55-gallon drum into the back of the truck there. And then let's see, I don't know if you want to keep going and just start talking about kind of my food storage and some of my ideas on food storage. Okay, cool.
Go for it.
So everybody obviously has their own method of getting into food storage. Food storage is something I've done my whole life. I was raised a member of the Church of Latter-day Saints, so I was a Mormon. My father and my mother were really big into maintaining a strong food storage, so they always had 1 to 2 year food supply down in the basement. So it's something that I've always just kind of seen as a kid growing up, but I also was able to see what Dad did wrong with his food storage, because he kind of had a 2-tiered approach to his food storage, and I kind of have a 3-tiered approach to my food storage. I don't like to do the 1 year revolving food storage. I'm not really I don't like to do the long-term revolving. I like to have a set it and forget it set. So my tier 1 would be technically tier 3. I'm going to work backwards. So tier 3 would be my set it and forget it set. That's going to be anywhere from 6 months to a year's worth of food that I can put away and just have it away for a decade, 2 decades if I have to. I know I'm not going to be going to it. So with that, I've gone with a lot of the freeze-dried and dehydrated foods that come in the number 10 cans. I use companies like Emergency Essentials and August and Farms and Harvest Right to obtain all of my freeze-dried stuff. I also here in Salt Lake City, it's pretty easy to obtain number 10 canned stored food because they have all the LDS storehouses around. So literally, midtown, downtown, you can go to one of the granaries and go buy canned wheat, canned corn, canned salt, canned sugar, that comes in the big number 10 cans. So I've stocked up on that stuff as well. So I've got my 6 months it's probably about 6 or 7 months realistically of freeze-dried, set it and forget it, that's been put away, that is just, we don't touch that stack at all. Moving down to tier number 2 to supplement that. So what that inside the freeze-dried foods, we'll get into kind of what I have there in just a second in the focus of some of the freeze-dried thing, because it's going to help with the different tiers that I have. Moving down to tier 2, I have 4 or 5 big, of the 20-ish gallon Rubbermaid tote boxes that we all love to store in the basement and put all of our junk in. I've got a couple of those, and each one of those Rubbermaid totes, I have one for each family member. In each one of those, I can fit about 75 pounds of rice and about 50 pounds of beans in it. I live in a really dry area currently, and I've got a really nice root cellar style basement. So I haven't found the need to do the 5-gallon bucket Mylar oxygen sealed approach with my rice and with my beans, because the basement is able to sustain a nice cool temperature. But I do take the big bags of rice and beans, I put them inside one of the Rubbermaid totes and just sit them in there. And so I've got 4 of those, and each one of those totes is for each one of the family members. So I've got a tote that's got roughly 125 pounds of food. The wife's got one, and each of the kids have one. So those are the sustainment pods that I've kind of put together for each of that. So that's going to be your hard, heavy bulk calories and your hard, heavy bulk raw proteins right there. That's going to be the stuff that you're going to eat to sustain yourself through the long run without being able to obtain food. Right there. And so then moving down into tier number 1 is going to be your everyday pantry. This is where you want to get a little bit creative, because with my everyday pantry, I've kind of built it out as like a 3-month pantry. So I go through and I have each of the meal, I've got 7 or 8, 9 different meal plans that we cook on a regular basis. And I pretty much have 7, 8, 9 of those meals each in the pantry upstairs with the fridge and all that stuff right there. And so that pantry alone, we could easily sustain ourselves for 2 or 3 months off of the pasta, the rice, the oats, all the stuff that we eat on a regular basis right there. And so that gives me a nice layered approach to it without really having to attack my long-term set it and forget it food. So I know that I've always got 6 months or 6 months there and 3 months here type of thing. So I've got different levels of food preparation. And my idea with that is that obviously if we got into a long-term, say, let's call it a year-long food crisis where we're not able to go to market, we're not able to obtain food easily, so we need to live off of the supplies that we've stored for ourselves. My idea is that I'm going to go straight to the tier 2. I'm going to grab my sustainment pods where I have all the rice, beans, oats, and hard wheat, and that's how I'm going to start working. Do rice and beans with pretty much every meal because I have a lot of that. It sustains the family, but then with that, I can use a little bit from tier 1, my 3-month pantry of the not so long-term, not so shelf-life food that I've got. I'm going to go to tier 1 to help supplement the sustainment pods that I've got, so that I can add flavor to it, so I don't get that sickness of different, so I can change the flavor up there. And that's really kind of how I've attacked and gone about food storage. I've really tried to be systematic with it, kind of knowing that some of it is realistically going to be used all of the time. Some of it possibly realistically will never get used, but hopefully, if it ever does hit the fan, I do have that to fall back on right there. And that's going to be that level 3, the freeze-dried stuff that I've got that's got the 30-year shelf life. And a lot of that, I've just got my list right here, kind of give you an idea of what I stacked up in my freeze-dried section just to be able to add into the rice and beans that I've got in that kind of level 2 right there. Let's just see. I've got berry blend, strawberry, blackberry, blueberries, raspberries, banana slices, strawberries, pomegranate arls, lime slices. Let's see, going into, we got broccoli, onions, green beans, corn, peas, diced tomatoes. So you got a little bit of everything. So you can throw just a small handful here, a small handful there in with your rice and beans, so that you can just keep it flavor. I've got we've got seasoning packets, we've got meat, we've got some pre-mixed, lasagna, spaghetti type meals in the freeze-dried section there. But realistically, it's more ingredient based that I've got in the freeze-dried section. And that's just so that I can add into the rice and bean kind of sustainment portion of my preps.
That does sound pretty well put together, because we all have to remember you can't just live on rice and beans. You eat just rice and beans, man, you're going to be sick.
Well, I mean,
Not just
technically, we could live off of rice and beans. 60% of the global population lives on a sustainment diet of rice and beans primarily, and they don't really get a whole lot of
But without those other nutrients, you're really you don't get very healthy.
But exactly, it's not the healthiest of diet, but you are going to be able to still kind of swing a hammer a little bit. You are still going to be able to go out and tend the fields and be able to.
Plus the things that you don't, like you said, you have more of one than another, and hopefully you won't use it. Is I forgot to add that on my list. I was going to tell everybody what you plan on not using a lot of. You still want to collect that and push it off to the side, because you still have to have a way to barter. A lot of the foods you can barter with, like you buy a lot of rice and beans, you can use those to barter with, because there's going to be a lot of folks out there that aren't planning far enough ahead, and you're going to be able.
They're not going to have 200, 300, 400 pounds of rice stacked.
Yeah.
They might have 5, 10 pounds in the pantry, but they're not going to have 55-pound bags or 50-pound bags of rice laying around, because they haven't thought while they're at Costco to grab that $20 bag of rice and chuck it on the cart.
And people don't understand, it might cost $20. How would you use it all? Well, you just make it into smaller bundles, and you put some of it to the side.
The beauty of it is that with my little sustainment pods that have the rice and the beans in there, it's rice that we use on a basis anyway. So like as soon as my rice up in the level 1 pantry starts getting kind of, I keep about probably 20-ish pounds of rice upstairs in the pantry at any given point. I've got some jasmine, I've got some long grain white, I got a little bit of basmati, we got, a couple different flavors right there. But obviously, like, as soon as that gets down, I'll just bring another 25 pounds. We go through probably 20, 30 pounds a month easily of rice. I love cooking, I cook it with damn near every meal.
Yeah.
I cook with beans and rice all the time regularly. So.
Hey, Will.
Yeah.
Will Patriot said that he's going to have to get going. He has to go to work.
Does he want to talk first?
I don't know. I don't know if he
Will, do you want to? I see you still up there. Do you want to talk real fast, Will? He says it's still up there. Maybe he just left the camera.
And the audio on your end is real bad.
Mine is.
Yeah.
I'm going to change headsets then. I'll change to the other one.
And at any point, feel free to tell me to shut up because I can become a chatty Cathy pretty quickly. So
I don't know that he's still here because he has said in the chat that he had to go. So
There, you guys can hear me better now. Can you hear me better now, Cheryl?
Yes, that's perfect. Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but I hate using the headset. But I will if I have to.
I think he left. He just didn't hang up.
Okay, yeah. That's darn. I wanted him to be in this conversation. Anyway, that's all right. You want to add something, Al? Can you hear us yet, Al? Yeah, he hung up.
Yeah, don't forget to. Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hello?
Go ahead, Al.
yeah, we can hear you, Al.
Yeah, okay.
Just
don't
talk,
forget a
Al.
grinder and dry. Don't forget a grinder and dry herbs.
Dry herbs, yeah.
I'm trying to. Don't forget a grinder and dried herbs.
Absolutely. Yeah, you definitely want to
I
have
wonder
an
if you
herb
guys
grinder,
got that.
dried herbs.
And grinder?
Yeah, we got. I have that written down. Good thing you covered it. I was gonna bring that up later, but you got it for me. Thank you. See, I have another. That was just a short list for beginners. I still have other stuff, and I'm with
Yeah, that's the type of
DMAC there about. Yeah, he's having technical difficulties.
Get your metal and your cod pieces and start throwing spark.
Yeah.
Just like they do out in the desert.
You need to pull some stuff together. Also, like water filters and purifiers, not just rely on having drinking water like the cases, or like you said, you have some put away. But even if you have some put away, like in big containers at your home, if you have to bug out or stuff, you still have to worry about taking purifiers with you or know how to purify water. So you have to have things like water purifiers.
Sorry to kick in real quick, but kayfabe, when we start talking about like an herb grinder, a mortar and a pestle, same type of thing. Just a way to be able to process and the herbs that you're growing, or to be able to break down the herbs that you've stored away right there. So mortar and pestle is absolutely going to do you just as well as a grinder would do. So.
Yeah, you can buy grinders pretty cheap, and you get them all different sizes, so it's whatever you prefer. But yes, he's got a very good point there. The water purifiers are going to be really top notch because water's going to run out first whenever you have some sort of drastic event. Water is usually the first thing that you run out of. So you want to make sure that you're keeping your water purifiers, or even some bleach, and you have to make sure that you don't buy the scented stuff. You have to get the unscented stuff, and make sure that you're reading the label on it before you buy it. Make sure that you are getting the right stuff. I believe it's 6%, if I remember. Let me look at my notes so I know for sure. Yeah, it's 6%. make sure that you read the label. Make sure it's 6%. I can't remember hydrochloride. Make sure it's 6% hydrochloride.
You know, I think while you're talking about purifying water there, I think it's also important to remember that you don't want to rely on just a chemical process to purify your water. You
Absolutely.
don't want to rely on just a filtration process to purify your water. You kind of need to look at combinations of 2 and 3 different levels of purification to be able to really treat your water, because it depends on where your water is coming from. Obviously, if you're pulling your water from like a high mountain spring or a snowpack melt off or something like that, you're not going to have to treat it quite as aggressively as if you're pulling it out of the parking lot at 7-Eleven, you know. So it all obviously depends on where
You're right.
gathering
You're
your
right.
water, but you know, you don't want to rely on just one level of purification to be able to make it happen, because, and especially if it's just a chemical, or just, you know, I have a hard time relying on just the chemical purification process, because I just don't think that the, you know, non-organic chemicals introduced into the body is a good thing. So trying to avoid that at all costs, trying to remove all chemicals is the ideal concept at purifying water. So we want to try to get that stuff out, filter and purify, yeah, like Palmetto says. So
You should have several ways of purifying water. Don't just rely on one way, because there's several ways out there, and you should know multiple ways of getting your water purified, because it's like you said, it's different levels of contamination. Also, you got to think about, we're just I'm trying to keep on the food storage thing. I have several notes written down. But charcoal is another thing to keep around. Not only is it good for filtering water, but if you don't have any firewood and stuff around, you can use it to start fires and stuff with too. So you want to make sure you put that in your foodstuffs, because if you can't start a fire to cook with, you're not going to be able to eat.
I think along with charcoal, I think a good idea is to have, I personally, like, I obviously I have 2 20-pound bags of charcoal up at, you know, that's just with the smoke pit. But I keep a lot of white gas Coleman fuel around. And then I was fortunate enough to come into a large quantity of methanol. So I've got a lot of methanol stored on site that can be used as camp fuel.
How the heck do you get that?
So I work at a car dealership, and we bought a couple trucks, like oil rig trucks that had tanks with methanol and ethylene glycol in it.
Yeah.
So I took a bunch of the methanol home and let them deal with the ethylene glycol there, and they just use it as antifreeze for all their tractors and crap up there at the dealership. So it works pretty well. But I really like having some of those fuels, because you know, once you really get deep into that Teotwaki end of the world stuff, you're not going to want to be cooking to where people can smell it. You're not going to want to have a big raging fire. You're not going to want to be barbecuing, you know, unless you're wanting to have a block party. And if you're trying to invite the neighbors over to eat, you can go ahead and fire up the grill, but you'll be inviting everyone in a 1 mile radius, damn near, in my opinion, especially if we're all hungry. So you're going to want to have ways of being able to stealth cook in the basement, being able to bring water to boil, rehydrate food, and being able to heat your food that way versus cooking it. That's one of the reasons I like the freeze dried and the dehydrated foods, is because you just have to add boiling water and wait a little bit, and then it's cooked, ready to go. You know, that's the benefit of MREs. If you do the MRE thing, or the canned foods, is that you don't have to heat them up. You know, MREs, you can throw I love MREs because they're indestructible. You know, the foil packs, you can just throw straight on the bed of coals. You can put it in a boiling water. You can throw it on an engine block. You can heat an MRE bag in a million different ways and heat up your food that way without, putting off too much osmosis and or not osmosis, but diffusion there, and getting the smell broadcasting out to the huddled masses that are ready to take all of your food. So.
Another thing you could think about if you're not a city dweller and you live outside the urban areas, think about raising some livestock. Go, Al. You talking now?
Uh,
He's froze up, I think.
Okay, solar oven.
Another thing that we,
Yeah,
Solar
old soldier, yeah, you
oven.
can definitely heat up
Oh,
MREs under your armpits. That's definitely been done before as well. And not the most ideal way, but you know, you can they can be heated up and
yeah.
MRE. You know, I always keep at least 1 or 2 MREs in my random side topic, but in my little bug out whatever, because in my EDC bag I keep an MRE entree or 2 because it's an easy meal. It's quick and easy.
Yeah, I like them when I was able to hike all the time. I'd just throw them in my bag because heck, you get hungry and tired. You just take a break and you can make a little fire and throw one of those things in a tin cup or whatever, you know, and you'd have a quick meal while you're out there in the woods all day, you know.
You know, on the topic of cooking, Wes in the side chat, I see Wes S brings up a really good point. Solar ovens, yeah, that's obviously that's going to be a really solid way of cooking without, you know, putting it too much out there, and being able to harness that you don't have to harness any other way. So I haven't done a whole lot with solar ovens. I haven't gotten into that world yet, but I would absolutely love to personally, because I think it's a really good idea to be able to let Mother Nature do work for you while you can go do other stuff. So
Heck yeah. Another thing that we should cover is salt. I know I put it on the list at the very beginning, but you cannot have enough salt, you guys. It comes in handy for so many things other than just cooking. If it comes down to like a SHTF situation where their stores are all out of everything, you're going to be out there trying to get your own food. You can use the salt to cure your meat with so it lasts longer. And then it's also going to be like a big bartering tool. It will be a huge bartering tool when if we ever get to Teowaki for sure.
yeah, definitely. And just like Anthony in the side chat comment was saying, you want to have multiple types of salt. You don't want to stick with just iodized salt. You want to make sure you have different levels of mineralized salt right there, so that you can
And lots of it actually.
So yeah. Where was I? No, so, and feel free, like I said, tell me to be quiet at any point.
Oh, you're doing fine.
So
Can I jump in with a comment that was made in the chat here?
Yep.
KFAB, I think I pronounced it right, was talking about, she's made a comment about that it wasn't the prepping what you eat. It's not necessarily meaning what your religious beliefs are or anything like that. It's referring to what you eat on a daily basis, what you eat, every day. And that's what you want to kind of prep. And when you go to prep foods, that's what you want to kind of prep. You don't want to prep foods that you don't normally eat or foods that you're allergic to or anything like that. You want to concentrate on what you eat regularly.
If you are allergic to something, though, you could set that off to the side. Make sure you mark it you're allergic to it. But not everybody's going to be allergic to it. Think about that.
Right.
You may be able to use that as a bartering tool. You could use that to be able to trade it for something else that you need.
Right, but you want to focus for your main preps for yourself, especially the first part, is you want to focus on what you eat on a regular basis. Like we eat a lot of pasta, we eat a lot of beans, we eat a lot of rice and oats. It's the biggest part of our foods. So those we do concentrate on, but we also concentrate on things like flour and salt and baking soda and baking powder, because we do things like flatbread and pancakes and things like that. So you want to focus on what you eat every day. So, and that way, when you are prepping, and if you had to go on that diet of your preps, you're not going to have that shock to your system of having a diet change. Prep.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true. But you should still stock the other stuff too.
Oh yeah.
After you get your main prep started, you should start working on the rest of your stuff. And you're always building your preps. You should always build them up so that even if you have more than what you think you're going to need, you're going to need what you think you don't need. Trust me.
Oh yeah, and you know, you want to have a variety. You know, you want to be able to. You're going to get tired of eating the same food, so you want to have a variety. And adding just like seasonings or a new kind of food in there, that variety can make a difference. So yeah, you want to focus on that. So
I'm laughing at words.
Yeah. Yeah, he knows how to keep the chat alive for sure.
The image of like the fluorescent pink plaid tight pants just after with his
Skinny bushcraft pants. He's gonna look them up.
I can do something that makes me laugh my ass off every time I think about that.
Yeah, but you still want to make sure, even though you're building your preps up, keep building up what you need plus some other stuff too. Because, like I said, if it gets down to nothing being on the shelves, you're not going to be able to. You're going to be welcoming stuff that you don't like. Let's put it that way. Because the store, just look at it like this: the stores are empty. Now, what am I going to eat? I'm going to eat that stuff I don't like.
Oh, sure. Once you get hungry, you'll forget what appetite, or you'll forget what being a picky eater is all about real quick. So,
and my dad taught me to eat everything. He said, "You're going to come a time when you don't have what you like, so you just like everything."
yeah. Well, and it's important too to store the. It's important too to store up things, like canned goods and things. Yeah, they have an expiration date. Okay, yeah, but it's going to last for a while. And so you want to store up like your canned vegetables and your different things like that too, to go along with it, and your canned meats, because you may not have access to meats otherwise. So you do want to stock up on your canned meats.
Absolutely.
Now, with stacking up the cans in general, so some of the reasons that I've kind of done my food storage the way that I do is because I don't like having 1.5 million small tin cans around, because inevitably, if you don't have the right shelving to be able to rotate through those cans appropriately, first in, first out, first in, first out type of thing, you are inevitably going to get cans that just get pushed to the back, to the wayside, they get dusty, collected, and eventually will swell, bloat, and go bad on you. And I saw that happen a lot with Mom and Dad's food storage. They were really good about rotating through their cans and stuff like that, but it was just on stacked shelves. They didn't have, the rolling racks that let them really access the cans appropriately. And inevitably, every year or two, when Dad would go down and audit the shelves, he would pull out a pile of garbage essentially that he'd have to get rid of because it had spent 2 years too long tucked away in the back there. So making sure you're getting stuff that you're actually going to eat, something that you actually eat regularly. That was the other issue I noticed, is that he had stuff that he would store that we never would eat. And even if it was the end of the world, you probably wouldn't eat it a whole lot because you don't cook with it regularly enough to, obviously you'd figure it out if that was the last thing you could put on your plate. But ideally you want to prep the stuff that you normally consume. And like Cheryl was saying earlier, like having, up in the upstairs pantry, the ready-make pancakes, this stuff that's easy to whip up, because hell, you can go get a 10-pound bag of ready-make pancake mix at Costco for $5-6, and that'll make you pancakes every day for 2 months. So that's a lot of bread with the dehydrated milk, this, that, or whatever, so you can easily, cook flapjacks. So it's just simple things like that you want to have on store that that you're going to use regularly and that you're not going to waste.
Well, if you're going to put stuff in cans and you're going to store cans for a long time, make sure you're looking at the cans and making sure that they're being packed in water and not some other substance. Because if you got cans packed in water, they're going to last a lot longer than with like oils or shoot, I can't remember the name of that other stuff they put in there, but it's yucky. But if you buy cans that are canned with water in them, they'll last a whole lot longer past the expiration date than cans that are not packed with just water. So, as long as the cans don't get punctured or they don't rust out or anything like that, or you got stuff oozing out of them, they're probably going to be pretty good if they're packed in water, in my opinion, anyway.
Right. Well, and I agree with that. Natural juices rather than syrup too.
Yeah, syrup has that nasty stuff in it.
Yeah, exactly. So if you can get the ones with the natural juice in it. And I just one thing I saw from someone who was doing freeze-dried food. If you're freeze-drying your own food and you use the syrup, it will make it really not nice. It's not as
It'll
good.
probably deteriorate faster, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that what we were talking about one other time, right?
Yeah. It just doesn't freeze dry the way it should, and your food actually breaks down. Yeah. You want to use the natural liquids. So,
Kay says she's not vegan; she's vegetarian. Is there a difference between vegan and vegetarianism? I didn't know there was a difference.
I know the difference.
Brandon says he knows the difference.
Brandon knows the difference.
Oh yeah. Just 1 minute and I'll share.
He's got his shirt off. He's trying to put his shirt on.
No, I'm putting a jacket on. It was a long time before I learned it myself. I was always kind of confused on what it meant myself, but I learned like a few years ago that the difference between vegan and vegetarian is basically with vegetarians, it's an all vegetable diet. But with vegans, basically what veganism is you don't eat animal products. You don't eat eggs, milk.
You got it backwards. It's vegans eat only plants.
No.
Vegetarians.
Huh?
Yeah, you got it backwards.
Wes got it right. He says vegetarians like vegetables. Vegans hate people that eat meat.
Yeah.
He must be talking about hooples.
Yeah.
Vegans are all deficient.
Yeah.
They're all running around. They all
Hey, Pep Ford, how you doing?
to make it happen.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Wes comes up with good ones.
Can you
Okay.
guys hear me? Is everyone hearing me okay? I just changed my mic up a little bit.
Hey, Rob, how you doing?
You're a little bit quiet, DMAC, but not bad.
Hey, you're doing fine, D-Mac.
Yeah. Did you have honey on your list?
I have it. I'm looking here while you guys are talking. I've got a lot, but I write really small, so it's hard to catch everything. I got a lot of stuff here. Milk, with you need to get that both powdered and condensed. And then salt I have on there too. Also cast iron pots and pans and Dutch ovens, because they're not only can you cook on them with a stove, but you can cook on them out on open fires too.
Yeah, it's cookware is extremely important too. That's right.
So yeah, so the cast iron is definitely good. It's heavy, but it's gonna pay off. You can probably get one of the kids to carry the cast iron.
Brandon can wear it on his head like Johnny Appleseed. So, yeah. And another thing too is, Uncle Al kind of hit on it a little bit with the dried seasonings and stuff. You do want to have some seasonings, and so you can change up the flavors of your foods too.
You do. You need to have lots of it too, because that will be one of your basic bartering chips. It's like DMAC said. Most people they plan ahead in their budget. They plan ahead and they got food probably a month's worth. But actually, when they get down to it and something really happens, they're not going to have that much, and you're going to be able to use that stuff. Say, hey, I didn't get me any gas. I'll trade you some good food for some gas or something like that. Bartering.
Yeah.
Get out there and say, hey, I need some of your stuff.
Got a little visitor with me, guys. So.
Oh, you got the baby? I want to see.
Yeah. You're
gonna have to talk so we can see her.
Yeah, I'm trying.
She's cute.
There she is. A little bit closer to the camera.
She's all sleepy still.
Yeah, so she's sleepy. Yeah, it's bedtime. She just had some food a second ago, but she's just hanging out with her.
Great looking kid,
grab her real quick and show her off. So, yeah, she came out with a head full of hair. So. There's a lot of people that are jealous of this hair, man. If you guys need transplant, my other one's got
better watch it.
Patrick Swayze beat by
Wes wants to steal her.
How old is she now, D-Max? She 2 weeks?
Not quite. She'll be 2 weeks tomorrow. So yeah, I guess right at 2 weeks tomorrow. So
you better keep her hid. Wes says he wants a munchkin.
Yeah, she's kind of cute. So she got a bit. Cool. I'm gonna run away and take her back up to Mama real quick. Figure we just come into show her
right.
Just a second.
I appreciate you showing her off. I appreciate you showing her off, buddy.
Yeah, I'll be right back.
I know that this isn't food, but you ought to have lots of pain relievers in with your preps. Things like Tylenol and Advil, because when all hell breaks loose and people don't have their daily fix of coffee or tea or whatever they have that is they're hooked on, they're going to start coming down off of that high. And they'll start getting really bad headaches and stuff like that. So you want to make sure you got that stuff in your preps to take care of that.
Right. But not only that, but anti-diarrheal medicine and like antacids and things like that too. Anything for the stomach.
But I know that doesn't have anything to do with foods, but actually it does, because the people that don't have coffee and tea and stuff like that, high energy drinks and stuff, are gonna actually go into withdrawals.
Yeah.
Wayne would be on that list for sure.
Don't forget Pedialyte.
Pedialyte, yeah.
Yep.
Don't forget Pedialyte for the small one.
Yep, for the electrolytes. Yep.
Yeah, and you also something that Tyler keeps talking about is the protein powders and things like that. That would help with your enhance your foods and help build up your, I don't know, the minerals or whatever, the vitamins and minerals.
Also, if you're storing up water, a lot of water, like some people get those big crates, they come in that steel cage with the plastic thing inside of it, and they fill them all up with water and stuff, and that's their water storage system and stuff. If the grid goes down or something, you don't have any way of getting that water out, you may want to pick up some siphoning tools and just have those put off to the side, for just in case a grid down or something like that.
Well, most of them have a spigot on the bottom.
They have a spigot on the bottom? Well, what if they don't?
Yes.
What do you do then?
The trick with a
Harbor
garden
Freight, you get a
hose, but
fuel transfer pump for
Yeah.
$5 and you'll be able
Garden
to fill
hose.
water up easy.
Yeah, you can do it the old way like I used to do when I was a kid getting gas out of my dad's pickup. That sucks.
Okay, Wes, what is the trick to prevent caffeine withdrawal headache?
Yeah, what is that trick, Wes?
Yeah, give us that trick, Wes. Where
Don't quit drinking caffeine. Yeah, that's
The
the trick.
inquiring minds wanna know.
Have a cup of coffee every day. That's how you get rid of it. So.
Use ground coffee like dip and pinch between each and them.
what are you talking about? Use all the used coffee? Is that what you said?
See, Wes, that just sounds nice, man. Like I chew on chocolate-covered espresso beans as candy. So
Oh yeah, they sell those right on top of the.
just packing in a little espresso dip right there. That's just a little wake me up, you know.
Yeah. When I used to go to espresso stands. I used to go to the espresso stands in Washington State, and they always ask you if you want a bean on top. You know, do you want a bean with that? And I go, I want 5 beans. I don't want a bean. If you're giving away beans, I want 5 of them.
Oh man, I used to get screwed all the time. I worked at Starbucks for like 3 years as a manager, and so like I used to live on espresso. And to the point where as soon as the day that I quit, I stopped drinking coffee for like almost 2 years. Didn't have a cup of coffee because like I would come home, you'd shower, and I would like it would be in my skin, like I'd be soaking it in through osmosis, damn near.
Well, that would be disgusting.
Yeah, it was a little rough, you know, because the shower was like a coffee pot, but it is what it is. So.
Wes said he ate 3 of those beans.
Oh yeah, well, you know, but I'll tell you what though, if you're trying to do like a cross-country road trip and like drive, chocolate cover espresso beans, baby, because you don't have to pee at all because there's no fluid, but they get you going.
Yeah, it dehydrates you.
That's the way to stay up, baby.
That's why I always told him give me 5 because I was usually stopping for him on my way to work. You know, drink that espresso down on the way to work, chew on those beans. By the time I got to work, I was always 15 minutes early, but I wanted to start anyway. You know.
Yep. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
You ever get fixed, Uncle Al?
Did we discuss hard dried? No, still having problems. Did we discuss dried meats?
Dried beans? No.
No,
why-
dried meat.
Why don't you talk about it, Al, for us?
Okay, in the old days, they used to have really hard and dried meats like cod and lamb and young beef that they really, really dried. You have to use an axe to break it up. You copy? I hope.
I can hear you. Keep going. We got you. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
in those days, you only had 2 choices: hard dried meats or salted. Nobody liked salted, especially the tongue. Who wants to eat salted tongue?
Yuck.
So you got dried cod, you had dried lamb, and yeah, true, and you had a young dried beef. Still made it in South Africa called, I can't think of the word, I can't pronounce it right. Biltong or bilbong? It's
No,
a
I've
hard
heard of
dried
that.
meat.
I've heard of that.
You need a 2x4 to break it up. That's why I don't have teeth anymore. And you thought hardtack was bad. Try eating one of those. I tried to bust up a 4-year-old dried cod with a mallet. Never again.
Well, I would think if you smoked your food like fish and meat and stuff like that, you could cure it probably with salt. I think that's how they do it in Alaska. I'm not positive. If there's anybody from Alaska, you can correct me. But I think they rub it down with salt and then they put it in their smokers and they leave it in there till it's almost hard as a rock so that it will stay longer.
Yeah, I think what they're talking about
Correct.
is similar to pemmican. Side check, guys. I think it's similar to pemmican. A little bit.
Pemmican,
different.
yeah.
Yeah, pemmican's just a little bit different than what they've got, but pemmican's not bad. It's I make it every once in a while. About once a year, I'll make a little batch to hike with.
Yeah, pemmican lasts a long time. That's what the cowboys used when they were traveling between the cities and stuff, their towns. Instead of having a bunch of food with them, they just have some pemmican so they could bite off a piece of it, and they could ride their horses and stay going longer.
Okay, Modern Refugee asked a question, and I don't know how to pronounce this. It's NIXTAMALED, corn.
Nixtamald?
Nixtamald, something like corn.
I haven't even heard of that. Does anybody else have that answer?
I have no idea what it is.
Can you look that up, DMAC?
Looking up what? Sorry.
Can you NIXTAMALED, corn? I can't even pronounce that. Nixtamald is the best I could come up with.
What is that, Modern Refugee?
Yeah, what is that? What is it? Alkaline solution, like lime to wash grains. It's an alkaline solution that, like lime, that they use to wash grains. What, Al?
Okay, are you talking about hominy? I think they're talking about hominy if you're using alkaline solution. Hominy and grits?
Rob says it's a corn mess
hominy
mixture.
or grits.
It's a corn massa mixture. It's like
It's corn
type
maize.
of like a cornmeal.
Like your cornmeal. So yeah.
Yeah, a cornmeal mixture.
It's like hominy, but
masa?
larger.
Is it masa?
It's corn soaked in alkaline or lime,
Okay, that sounds like masa.
like hominy. No, like it's. Wes says it's making hominy.
Somebody got a link out there.
Okay, Modern Refugee.
Hey, Jamie.
It softens the hulls and releases the nutrients so our bodies can absorb it.
Oh, that makes sense.
Okay.
There'd have to be a way for your body to process it, you know.
Okay. Okay. Is it something that would you like store up the alkaline or lime or something, or can you buy this already
Sorry.
made?
I'm laughing at Wes.
Wes is, yeah, he's being funny.
You could use wood ash. You could use You could
You can use
use wood ash into lye.
wood ash. Yeah, but Twinkies last forever,
Wood
you
ash to
guys.
lye.
Wood ash to lie. I don't get that part. Is that a way to cure, Uncle Al?
That's how you make lye, Will.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, okay. I see. He said it, yeah, it's the way to process dent corn or field corn so our bodies can absorb the nutrients. So it's a process. Yeah. Okay.
Twinkies are soft, warm, and loving. I don't know. I don't see how anyone could think that they're bad. Such a nice and positive little sponge.
Yeah, they last forever
How could
too.
there be anything negative about that thing right there?
I think they last like 100 years. I read an article on it.
I wouldn't want to eat one after 100 years.
It wouldn't be soft and cuddly anymore.
No, not even close.
Excuse me, guys.
Something else I kind of wanted to throw in food storage wise while we were still kind of in that conversation is I was just going through my notes right here. Is obviously I know we've all seen a million videos about it, but having food storage for your dogs and for your pets as well. That's something that I focus on pretty regularly because there has been times and it's not even just like shit hit the fan or end of the world type of stuff. But there's been times that I've just forgotten that the dog's food pantry is almost empty, and instead of having to run out, I feed them kind of specialized food because I don't like to give them that crappy, just generic processed crap. I like to give them like better processed crap.
You spoil them. You're telling us you spoil them.
Yeah, so I go to the boutique dog store and I get the bison meal dog grain-free stuff that makes me feel like I'm feeding them a better diet, even though I'm just giving them, dry meat.
Better junk, yep.
But I think it's a really good idea to have, like for my dog, he goes through about 35, 40 pounds of kibble per month. And so I've got 3, 30-pound bags of dog food sitting in the basement that I just circulate through every time I need to bring one upstairs and put it into the gamma or the container that we have for his food. I just go in and buy another one and throw that stack down in the basement. But that way I've always got a good 3-month supply of kibble around for him at least before I'd have to start figuring out how to feed pup if we were in a longer collapse situation. So
yeah, you should have dog food in your prep.
Scenario, if I have to, if I'm going to eat dog food as well, it's not that bad. I've had it before.
Yeah, you should have dog food in your preps anyway. Even if you don't have any animals, you might get hungry. What you got, Al?
Rob, you be careful. I know a storm's headed your way, and you need to be real careful.
Yeah, we had a bad storm here just before we went live.
Yeah,
Thunder, lightning, and all that stuff.
He said there's a big storm about to hit.
It was raining in our area.
Let me see if I missed anything here. Cast iron pots, the goats. Yeah, don't forget to, if you live outside the populated areas, make sure you think about raising some livestock. That's a pretty serious thing because when all heck breaks loose, you're not going to believe it how fast the stores run out of everything. The people that didn't prep are going to be the ones that go in there and they just rampage through there, and there'll be nothing left in just a matter of hours, I expect, but it could be up to a couple of days probably, depending on how much food the stores have and whatnot. So think about some livestock. It doesn't have to be serious livestock either. It could be just some little stuff like chickens or goats or cows, even pigs, because that way you could always keep raising them. You could slaughter them off and prepare them, for lasting through a whole year for you and your family or whatever, Be something to think about, If you're not in an urban setting, you should be thinking about that.
Bringing up... Oh.
Rabbits and carp, folks. Rabbits and carp.
Rabbits and cats, is that what you said?
No, carp. Carp will like fish.
The fish, yeah, the big goldfish.
The big goldfish? I could never eat those, but I suppose I could if I got hungry enough.
pretty sure you could be surprised
Yeah.
at what you would eat if you were
Also, you have water source too.
Have what? Have
You
what
have
now?
another source of water.
Yeah, you should.
Fish water.
Fish water. Good nutrient for your plants, right? What am I missing? Anything? Anybody think of anything that I'm leaving out? How about anybody in the side chat? What are we leaving out?
No, but I did see some stuff in the side chat I wanted to touch on. West Wind and a couple other guys brought it up that during some of the recent storms that they had around in their areas, they saw stuff disappear at the grocery stores within hours or within days. And just sharing personal experiences, probably about 7 or 8 years ago, the wife and I lived down in New Orleans for a couple of years when she was going to grad school. And we experienced a hurricane while we were down there. And it was a decent-sized hurricane. I forget which one it was, but we were without power for like 8 or 9 days. And so we had to, we all knew that we were going to get power back eventually, and the flooding wasn't too bad, and the levees did their job. So it wasn't like a crappy situation. It was just, 110 degrees and 110% humidity with no power, no refrigeration type of thing. But I quickly saw the exact same thing, man. Like, they announced that the storm was coming, and before it had even started raining, the grocery stores had been like raped, pillaged, and plundered pretty much. They, like everything that you would expect to be gone quickly was gone quickly. So I personally don't like the idea of having to rely on going to a store at all at the initial onset, right before, right during, or right after an SHTF, whether it is any sort of natural disaster. You are going to have to go to market. You want to make sure that the market is rebuilt. So that you can get in there with whatever infrastructure they've redone it with, and whatever new guidelines they have, and with whatever commodities they have available, because you're not going to want to be around those areas during the initial onset, because those are going to be breeding grounds for uncertainty, for crime, for stuff to happen that you don't want to be a part of. So instead of being in that position, remove yourself from that possibility of having to go to the store and just put some extra stuff on your shelves so you don't have to worry about running out when the rain starts falling. So.
Yeah. Well, if you could put yourself in the position of anytime a hurricane's going to hit that East Coast, they always cover how people are reacting to it by covering the shopping centers and stuff. And you just see all those people come out there with those carts filled up all the way to the top and over brimming, That's just because they're used to doing it. I don't want to be one of those people that have to think, hey, I'm running to the store and getting all this stuff. I want to already have it and let those guys fight like D-Mac is, unsavory people and the idiots that just think that they're going to push you out of the way to get what they want before you get it, So, if you just watch what we already have going now, that's going to be 10 times that bad if a big event happens that would cover perhaps the whole United States or something,
Old school produce. I hope you could hear that. Old school produce like carrots, onions, and potatoes.
Those are all
No one
good,
buys
yeah.
those in a hurricane.
Nope. That's why I
And they
say you
don't
should
need to
have a garden. Should have a garden. Everyone should have a garden of some sort. It's if you watch Tyler, his garden is buckets on top of the fence, So there are ways of gardening if you just put your mind to it.
Well, and one of the things a lot of people talk about is storing up seeds.
Seeds are a big one. What's going to happen when
realistically,
the earth goes dead?
You don't really need to store up a whole lot of seeds if you don't know how to plant them and grow them. You don't know how to be a gardener. Just chucking a handful of seeds out in the backyard and thinking you're going to have tomatoes in a couple of months ain't going to happen.
Yeah.
So if you're going to store seeds, make sure you know how to put those seeds in the ground and how to make plants come up after you put them in the ground.
And that's something we left out of the preps is make sure that you're getting books books on how to raise your garden, how to can, stuff like that. If you guys don't know how to do that, you need to go out and get your books of how to do it and just put them into your preps, or read them and then put them in your preps or something, so that you know how to take care of these things when the time comes.
Well,
Yeah,
one of the things,
Not gonna, like D-Mac said, it's not going to do any good to have seeds if you don't know what to do with them after you get them.
right. Well, one of the things everyone should prep for is skills and knowledge. You've got to learn how to do that stuff. You've got to, that's what I'm doing now is I'm learning about gardening, plant foraging and all canning. And like you said, because if you don't know how to do those, now's the time to learn it. Now's the time to, like you said, get those books and take notes. I watch videos. I take notes on the process of growing plants, propagating plants, canning. I take notes. I have my huge collection of binders that I put all this stuff down. And that's one of the biggest things that as preppers, we should be prepping is skills and knowledge.
Absolutely. Wes said it all right there, you guys. Practice growing vegetables. Do not wait until it already hits the fan. Do it before it hits the fan so you already know.
Well, and then Cheryl also hit on a really good point there just a second ago on foraging as well, and having the knowledge of being able to forage because, I live in a major city. It's Salt Lake City, so there's only 2 million people here, so it's not like super major, but it's major enough of a city to where there's pretty big population density. But man, I've done a lot of like wilderness foraging and plant identification because I like to go up in the mountains often and hike. I hike, 20, 30 miles a week, probably minimum. But as I go hiking, I like to do the wild foraging, the plant identification, so I know which ones I can grab and eat, cook up, decide whatever. You'd be surprised at walking through the city, through downtown, how often I see plants growing that I could easily make a pretty damn good salad out of that wouldn't be bad. It would just be a little bit different than what you would see coming out of the grocery store. It's not going to be romaine. It's going to be, a dandelion, this and that, whatever. But you can easily put together a sustainable plant diet off of what is wildly growing around you. You just have to know how to see it and use it. So.
Yeah, I love wild onions.
I know that you can find books for each year. I've got 2 or 3 books that are specific for the Mountain West area that I'm in that have pretty good pictures that help you identify and stuff. So it's definitely a good idea.
Absolutely. Hey, Sue, I didn't see you sneak in. You did it again, didn't you? You came under the door again, didn't you? Good to see you. Okay, what else we got? Make sure you got plenty of vitamins, you guys. Vitamins, people overlook those. Because when all heck breaks loose, then what's going to happen is you're not going to be getting the nutrients you usually get. So you might want to stock up on some multivitamins and stuff like that.
That's a really good idea because when you're eating your rice and beans, getting your vitamin B and vitamin D and vitamin whatever else out of your system is not going to be a bad idea at all. So,
well, it doesn't hurt. They're not that expensive either. If you just thought about picking a bottle up every couple of months or whatever.
Sure.
Because those are something that they're sealed up. They're not going to go bad. They're just going to sit on a shelf,
Hey, JUFM, we've been having the same.
Don't forget acorns, guys.
Acorns.
Yeah, you can even crush up acorns and flour and use it as flour.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. I'm going to have to write that down.
See? Learn skills.
That's why I bring a pen and a paper. Oh, here it is, a manual grain grinder. I have it right here at the end. Make sure you have a manual grain grinder.
Yeah.
Yeah, a way of being able to process down to flour or maize-like Consistency off of hard wheat, off of corn, off of rice is not a bad idea. So definitely having a hand crank grind, they're not the cheapest, but hand crank grinder would not be a bad idea. Or being able to have the preps to be able to run on the, if you have the bad boy blender that can cut your flour down and process it.
Yeah. If you have a way to hook it up, if you have a way to hook up an electric one through solar power or batteries, that would not be a bad idea. But manual ones, at least you know it's going to work no matter what. Yeah. Also, another thing to stock up on would be motor oil. You guys wouldn't think so, but motor oil is going to come in pretty handy too. It can be used to lubricate your other stuff that you got going on. It also protects your metal that you have going on already from rusting. So it might not hurt to have that in your preps. Just that, most cars go for hundreds and thousands of miles. We don't have like a case of oil sitting around the garage anymore, I don't even think I've changed the oil in my car because it's just too hard on those new cars now. I take it in to have it done, but wouldn't hurt to have some oil left. I always have oil out in the garage for something. So motor oil is a plus.
I'm seeing a lot of comments about the acorns. Okay, one of you guys need to do a video on processing acorns. I don't know which one of you have acorns, but Palmetto and Steve and Howie have all talked about, and Wes have all talked about processing acorns. So we need to see a video on that.
Yeah. You're going to do that for us, Wes? We get somebody to send them to you. Yeah, motor oil is a good idea. Comes in handy for a lot of stuff.
Palmetto said he would do one this fall. Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Do it in the fall. Right on. Another thing is I have right at the end, too, is make sure you got your communication devices into your preps, too. I'm not talking about one of these things here, because they're probably not going to work. I'm talking about a two-way radio, walkie-talkies or bofangs or whatever you want to call them.
I think it's pretty easy for everybody to get one of the little $20 Baofeng 2-meter radio guys, because those are cheap and easy on Amazon. It's not too expensive to get a CB radio that you can just chuck off the side. CB is obviously a dying art, but it's got a small revival coming back, and you can push a mile or two with it.
I see they're coming back into style again.
I've seen CB kind of kicking back as well, and I've noticed because I've got a CB in the Jeep, and I just cut it on while I'm driving around to see if anyone's radio checking it all. And I'm starting to hear more and more radio checks, so it's kind of cool. It's fun.
I see they're starting to sell a lot more of them again. So I see a lot more antennas on cars and stuff around here. My son, he goes out cruising, what they call cruising around here, where the kids go chase the girls, and he says that most of his friends have CBs in their pickups. So that wouldn't be saying, just think about putting a set of walkie-talkies at Walmart. I think I looked at them. I think they're about, $20 or $30, and they got like a 20-mile range on them. That would be good enough to at least communicate with the people in your family or your group if you're in a group.
Well, and keep in mind
but you are going to need a way to communicate.
Yeah, keep in mind that 20-mile range that they quote on the package is if you were standing on a mountaintop and somebody else was on a mountaintop 20 miles away, that direct line of sight. You might be able to push 20 miles out that way. Realistically, if there's a building or a tree or a hill in the way, you're going to see.
Yeah, if it goes like this,
max. Yeah,
if it goes like this here,
as soon as
you're gonna have a problem.
Flat, that radio ain't gonna work for you at 20 miles. That's for damn sure.
But if it has that range, at least you can reach out and get somewhere.
And but it's really nice, to have those walkie-talkies around, because while you're running around the home, hell, we use them at the house sometimes just to be able, when I'm doing plumbing or any of the stupid housework bullshit. If I need to give one to the wife and one to me real quick, we can just yell at each other real quick, intercom style, and tell me when to turn the water on or off, or when to fix that or whatever. So, walkie-talkies good to have around, but on top of that, you also want to get the battery pack. Go to Costco and get your 72 pack of AA or AAA batteries to be able to feed those radios, because they are power intensive and hungry for power. So they, when you transmit on those radios, they're definitely going to have an appetite, and you have to feed those guys just as much as you have to feed yourself if you're trying to rely on that type of electronic equipment.
Wayne says he tried one on a bug out hike in the mountains. How'd that work for you, Wayne?
Yeah. As soon as you start seeing trees and hills and stuff, they
deteriorate.
They get a little rough. They definitely break down pretty quickly. That GMRS and that FRS radio bands is just, it's not a really strong frequency. So, and those little handhelds are just, you're talking maybe like a 0.5 watt receiver, 2 watt receiver max, something like that. So they're going to be really, really small, transmitter receivers. So.
Didn't work. He said it didn't work for shit in Washington. I can believe that. There's a lot of trees there, huh, Wayne?
No, that's why you got to go with ham. Be realistic. Get your ham operator's license and
yeah,
broadcast on ham. It's not that hard. You can print off free training manuals online easily.
$15 to get your ham license.
I got my ham license when I was like 14 years old. It took all of like a weekend to study for it. It wasn't that hard.
Yeah, you can take the test online.
Exactly.
Yeah, takes I think it's $15. I have a friend that does it, and he used to have a channel. Well, he still got a channel on here, but he doesn't use it much. But he is all the way up to master on his license, and he said if I will take it, he'll send me a radio to get started with. So I'm thinking about doing it.
Once you get it,
techno code. So
I told him, "Why you just I'll tell you I'm taking the test. You can just go okay it, and I won't even take it."
And once you get your ham operator's license, does it ever expire?
You have to renew it, I believe, but it only costs you like $3 or $4 if I remember right. You have to renew it like every 10 years. Every 10 years, I think it's every 10 years.
Okay.
But yeah, it's worth it. I'm thinking about doing it. He's going to send me a beginner radio and stuff, and I thought that'd be kind of cool to be able to reach out there and talk to somebody, maybe on the other side of the country or something,
It's pretty wild. It's fun. My dad's a real big radio nut. So, when I was growing up, we'd sit down in the basement, and he had the antenna up on the rooftop, and we would, repeater chain, and talk to, this is back in Atlanta, but we'd be talking to Alaska. We'd be able to connect to New Zealand, parts of Russia and stuff. So you could literally connect all over the world from your basement if you know how to jump from repeater to repeater. So it's really wild. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, my friend Mike, he said his antenna is just, I think he said a wire looped through his tree. And it's just sticking up in the air through a tree or something. He said, "That's my antenna."
Yeah, God's got a big 2-meter antenna on the top of the chimney. At the very top of the chimney on the top of the house. He's pain in the ass to mount that thing, man.
Yeah, he does some crazy stuff. Why is your wife mad at you, old man? Uh-oh, she found the emergency food.
Oh, yeah, she found the secret savings account, man. You're not supposed to let the woman find the secret savings account, dude. Come on.
No, that was my problem. I had to put a padlock on mine. Can't let too many people know where that's at. Yeah, put your foot down, old man. Listen to Sue. Let me see. I think I got everything. I got the grinder. I got the walkie-talkies. I got the oil. Oh, batteries. Buy a lot of batteries, you guys.
Another thing that I was really going to randomly throw in there with your batteries, we all have the toilet paper and stuff on standby, but one thing that I keep And we really didn't start keeping it until we started having babies because we got just a grip of them. But I have like cases of baby wipes, and it's a lot easier to clean up your mess with baby wipes than it is with dry toilet paper. So we like the idea of having the wet baby wipes on standby for sanitary purposes. Because baby wipes will clean damn near anything. You know, you can pull all sorts of gunk, goo, and whatever off the, you know, you shower yourself, clean yourself with them. So we got a couple, you know, you can get a case at Costco for 15, 20 bucks type of thing, and doesn't take up quite as much room as the big rolls of toilet paper there. So.
Yeah, I didn't think about it until just a couple of years ago, but they came out with those little pucks. Remember those pucks that came out? I've got like 300 of those. Because when you get them wet, they transform out to a big piece where you can use it for like toilet paper or a wipe or anything like that. And they came out, they compressed little pucks. I can't remember what they're called. I'd have to go look. But you just get them. You only have to have just a drop of water on them, and they go poof out to a regular size rag.
Sure. I also have a spray bottle for that type of thing. You know, realistically, if you can use a toilet paper or tissue paper, I'm just gonna.
What they call that?
Bidet spray that.
Bidet, yeah, a bidet.
Yeah.
My brother-in-law has one of those, and I went to visit a couple of years ago, and I went up to use the bathroom, and he had that, and I come out and I go, "What the heck? You can't even wipe your own butt now?" He goes, "Man, I'll never wipe my butt again."
If you don't have to, why?
I couldn't figure it out. It had so many buttons on it. All right. Anything else, you guys?
Man,
I think we're.
You know that old man's going to put his foot down, and old lady is going to crush that foot that he puts down. So old man's in a tough spot because old lady ain't happy. And if old lady ain't happy, ain't nobody happy. So,
Yeah,
God bless
yeah,
the
keep
old
the
man.
woman happy. Yep.
God bless the old man. I don't know how to find out that one. So.
What? She got your debit card too? Oh no! Now you can't get nothing offline. Man, you let her into all your goodies.
That'd be a fun. Yeah, I'd love to watch someone trying to use a bidet as a water fountain in West Wind. That would be freaking hilarious. Oh my God, that would be.
Did you get a picture of it, Wayne? That I gotta see.
Oh, she's got the truck keys too.
Oh man,
good
yeah,
Lord,
man,
what were you?
he's let his defenses down.
Oh man, you just got caught slipping or something. Jeez, she got in the trailer, the truck, the debit card. Good gracious, boy, come on, man, you gotta lock that stuff down a little bit.
She's got him locked down.
What kind of operational security are you practicing over there, old man? Jeez.
She's got you locked down tighter than a drum, buddy.
All right. Well, I don't know if there's any other questions or anything like that.
I don't see anything else. All right, you guys. I want to thank everybody for coming by. We ran over, but it was well worth it, and I'm glad that we got everybody up here. It was kind of a challenge again, but it all worked out. Has anybody else got anything from the panel? How about you, Al? He's got a hand up. Go, Al. You're on.
I'm good.
You're good, Cheryl?
No, I think we got it pretty well
I'm
covered.
good.
For now.
I'm good. Yep.
D-Mac?
I'm good.
You're good?
I've spoken.
Side chat. How's side chat doing? They're all saying good night. All right, you guys. Thanks for coming by. I'm going to wrap this up and talk to the side chat before we get out of here. I mean, the panel, excuse me. All right, guys. Thanks for coming by.